2, 1.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to be going on about a film that my fiance brought forward here. So, Tammy, what film are we going on about?
City of Angels.
And it's a film that was directed by Brad Silberling in the year 1998. So it was quite a little bit ago now, but it's a film. So let me say what IMDb says about the film, and then you can bring us into first impressions, Tammy. An angel on earth, a doctor unable to believe, a patient with a secret, and a love story made in heaven. So, the film stars Nicolas Cage, Meg Ryan, and Andre Braugher, among many others. Did you want to bring us into first impressions then, Tammy?
Yes. Just to mention you were mentioning the stars. One of the main stars is from NYPD Blue.
Yep, he was one of the main cops that was on that show. So
yeah, I forgot his name though.
Whew.
Okay. I think that was on correct, but anyways, Philippe, why don't you give me a first impression and we'll go from there.
Well, truth be told, even though I generally do like concepts such as a human falling in love with an angel or a demon or something like that, I must admit this movie was kind of a disappointment. No disrespect to anyone who likes it, of course. It's just that I didn't really think it had to end the way it did. And some things throughout the movie were also kind of strange, and uh, uh, there were some things I didn't understand throughout the movie, but yeah, my major disappointment is how it ended, especially because in some movies I think a tragic ending maybe does contribute to the plot, but in this case I kind of think it didn't really do much good, but okay, maybe that's just me. So yeah, no disrespect to you, Tammy, or to anyone who likes the movie, but yeah, I couldn't help feeling kind of disappointed by it.
Okay, sorry to hear that. But that's why we do this, So not everybody's gonna like everything, and then
Yeah,
so
that's fine. Of course, I'm not blaming you for anything. I hope you are not blaming me for my impressions.
no. So David, are you back with us?
I am. Sorry,
Okay,
every time
what was yours?
I actually do believe that this was one that I actually saw in the theaters.
Who?
I saw it in the theaters in 1998 with the person that I've often referred to as my mentor, who was provided for me by the state.
Huh.
He often took me to movies, and this was one of them. And I actually think this is one of Nicolas Cage's better movies. Nicolas Cage has a very blank expression on his face, so he almost it makes you believe that he is an angel. um, and I love the fact that the angels see the sunset and they see the sunrise. Sounds like it's like something very pretty for them to see. Okay? And I thought this was an interesting take on, you know, those who are supposedly supposed to watch over us. You know, there are always a lot of questions about what happens to us after we die, whether there is a God or a devil, or whether there are actual angels or whatnot. And I do think that this movie brings about an uh, interesting thing where an angel was given free will. Angels were given free will just like humans, and in order for you know, Seth, our main character, to you know, become a human, he's got to be able to fall from grace on his own. And I've kind of liked that idea that he could do that. That he could that he didn't just have to stay as an angel, and the fact that he fell in love with someone to in order to do it. But I always hated the fucking ending. I hated it.
Right.
Um, I it's like a punch in the gut, you know. Like
Pretty much.
why have him fall from grace to experience all this shit, you know, and then spoot out.
Did you say Spudao?
Yes,
Well, pretty much.
but
Yeah.
I enjoy this movie for the most part. I mean, it's very interesting. They kind of take a Reaper perspective of an angel, uh,
Yes.
which is different because you always think that angels are like these feathery creatures that flit about and do God's will. You know, they're a bit more like fairies in our imagination instead of people who, you know, uh, are the ones who take our souls up to heaven. You know.
I found it
Well,
interesting about the falling because we usually associate falling from grace as if the angel fell from grace that they went to hell and they became an angel of hell. You know, and
oh,
you know that's kind of how we've we've pictured the devil is the devil was an angel that fell from grace, and that's how the devil became. You know,
Well, if you
and
look at
so
it,
to have a fall from grace that is not that is different. You know.
well, if you look at it from the perspective of Emanuel Swedenborg was a man who thought that we were already in hell. Um, this is hell. What we're living through, this isn't hell. And in order to get to heaven, you got to go through hell first. So, if you look at it from that perspective, then technically he didn't just fall from grace. he fell to hell.
I guess I know that like I said, the devil's always been associated that he was an angel that originally fell from grace, and that's how he became the devil. So this is just a different take on falling from grace.
Yeah, it's definitely a different take. I also think, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, I think the soundtrack is awesome too. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah, I have the
um,
soundtrack, so I don't buy a lot of soundtracks. But are you done with your first impressions?
oh yeah, I enjoyed it then. I even enjoy it now. I mean, I think it's still very current and very rewatchable.
Okay. For some reason, I think I saw this in the theater too, but I don't remember for sure. But I think I did, and because I remember the ads
Oh,
for
the
it when it
actor's
came out.
name that you were looking for before, his name was Dennis Franz.
Yep, I couldn't quite remember it, but then yep, that's right, because he is one of the main guys in here too. So, um, but yes, I remember. Um, I think the movie Vanilla Sky came out around the same time, also, and that was another one I wanted to see. For some reason, I'm thinking they came out around the same time, and I wanted to see both of them. So I think I did see it in the theater. But yeah, I pretty much got into it. To me, it was I think a bit of a different role for Nicolas Cage, and like you said, his his especially like his facial expressions and stuff in here, he seemed pretty believable, and it, to me, yeah, it was like a totally different role for him. It was, he wasn't action packed, and he wasn't, um a bad guy or this or that or whatever. It was just like, I don't want to say a more subdued role, but it was just a more, um I don't think like what we normally see him in. But I think he pulled it off pretty good. Um
He definitely
let's see.
pulled an angel off better than he pulled Dracula off.
Same with Dennis Franz. After seeing him on NYPD Blue for years, yeah, he was always, the smart ass, the hard ass, the
You might remember.
he was like the cop, the cop that a lot of people hated on NYPD Blue.
Boris, you might remember Dennis Franz from a movie that we watched and discussed on here. I believe it was Psycho 2. He played the guy who had taken over the the Bates Motel, and he fired him.
Okay.
In Psycho 2. So
I remember him more though from the NYPD Blue, and just, you know, this role also was like a total opposite for him. He was still somewhat of a smartass in here, but not the rude, crude one that he normally is. That he normally was. You were normally used to seeing in NYPD Blue. I mean, he. You can't. him and NYPD Blue are just so, it's, you say NYPD Blue, you automatically think of him. You know what I mean? So we have two actors that are, their roles, I think, were a lot different than what we normally see them in this movie.
Technically three, because of the Andre actor. Normally, you see him in different roles too.
Yeah, I do admit that. But these two to me totally stuck out as to what we're used to with them too. I think their roles were like a complete opposite of what they normally are. But other than that, I do remember the first time I saw this that yes, spoiler alert, um, that twist towards the end just was like, you got to be kidding me. you know, we thought this was going to
And
be a
I kept seeing
a love story, and they were going to live happily ever after.
Oh, so even you had that impression, huh?
Oh yeah, I still remember the first time I watched this, and I was just like, "What?"
Right?
So, but overall,
well, and I kept seeing the boyfriend that she kept talking about and wanting to go on a camping trip, and he'd asked her to marry him and whatnot. I kept seeing him as the actor who played in Storm of the Century, who played the evil guy who kept singing, "I'm a little teacup, short and stout. Here is my handle. Here is my spout."
oh yeah, he was definitely evil in that.
Yeah, in this one he wasn't really. I must admit I was kind of expecting him to turn out to be some kind of villain, but apparently not.
But I do agree with David. We'll get to that. But the soundtrack I think was great. Like I said, I don't go out and buy every soundtrack that there is. I'm very picky. um, um, and I like how certain things in this that they set up, like them all meeting at the sunrise, and where they all met right there on the beach and everything. It just, I thought that was cool, and that they all, other than that, they all basically live in this humongous library.
Yeah.
But yeah, I overall, I really did like this. I thought it was neat. So,
Um,
yep. Well, I guess we should go into the main thing. Um, we have an angel named Seth, who's played by Nicolas Cage, and he is observing this doctor. What's her name again?
Maggie.
Huh?
Yep, he's observing this doctor by the name of Maggie.
Yeah.
But there's also other people that he's observing first before he even gets to Maggie. You get the sense that he observes with his angel friend that he seems to walk around with. They seem to do it in pairs. It seems, but they have philosophical talks with each other about why people do the things they do. And I think there's a little girl that he takes There are a couple other people that that you see that he helps take to, I guess, what you would call heaven.
I agree with David. He's kind of somewhat like a reaper, but not your nasty. The little girl. When he took the little girl, you could see that she wasn't she wasn't afraid or anything. She saw.
Well, yeah,
Go ahead.
he's more like a transporter of souls of some sort.
There when they pass away, and to make sure that their mindset is calm, and to tell them that it's all okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did you get that impression too?
Oh yeah, well, truth be told, I'm not unfamiliar with the concept of an angel of death. Like, there was something similar on the Lucifer TV show, except for that angel being female.
Yeah. Well, the angel that in Lucifer, that Gabriel, wasn't it, that was
Uh,
always talking to them?
Azrael.
He,
Azrael was the angel of death in Lucifer.
but he was kind of like his right hand in Lucifer. He always tried to see the good and always tried to do the good and everything. I know which one you're talking about.
Wait, you mean in Lucifer, his brother, Amenadil?
Yeah,
Huh?
basically, because it seems like them two were like two opposites of a coin.
Right.
Uh, yeah, but weren't we talking about the angel of death?
Well, they are kind of like angels of death in here, kind of.
Oh, in here, yeah, yeah.
They except not your Old Testament angel of death, because the angel of death in the Old Testament was just, you're gonna die, and you're gonna come whether you want to or not. There's no stopping the angel of death. Ah,
Pretty much.
I mean, unless you had the blood of lamb over your fucking door, the angel of death was going to take you whether you wanted to or not.
In a way, it kind of reminds me of another movie, Meet Joe Black.
Ah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
we did that one.
when I watched that the first time, at first I didn't totally catch it as to what he was, and then I did. It took me a moment to catch in Meet Joe Black.
Well, that was supposedly straight up death.
Right.
Who decided to take a vacation, or should I say a staycation? inside Joe Black.
Right, but he, same thing though. He wanted to experience what it was like to be human. He had no idea what it was like to have feelings or to deal with the things that humans deal with or anything. He wanted to understand what being human was, So it's, in a way, it's got some of the same
vibes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So he does Seth does end up for some reason becomes very
Infatuated.
Infatuated with Megan.
Or Maggie.
With Maggie. We'll just say Maggie. With Maggie. And he's, he's listening to her thoughts and watching what she does, and then keeps asking his the other angel. That's where he starts asking him all kinds of questions, well, why would a human do this or that or things like that, and um how do you how do you make them see you if you're not there to take them and things like that, or how do they know that we're here? He had all kinds of questions for him because he was watching her, right?
Yep.
So what do you think of the idea though that Seth got so involved in infatuated with Maggie that he you have this angel that wants to know all of this, and he's finding out that um that angels were never human to begin with.
Well,
That's what he was told, that they were never human to begin with. So that's why he's got all these questions, because he doesn't understand what the things are that humans are doing about, like, color, taste, feelings, all all these perceptions that we have, that but his world wasn't like that. He didn't feel things. He couldn't um he couldn't physically touch things. He couldn't taste anything. And I believe everything was black and white. There was no color either in his world. And
and there was a moment right after a patient died, and under Maggie's care, and she does not understand why she wasn't able to save the guy, because it's her job, it's her duty, and she's I believe she's kind of an atheist, because she believes that she should be in control of whether someone lives or dies. So when she loses that patient, she's questioning why he died, because she did everything right. And in that moment, while she's in the staircase, Seth swears that she was actually able to see him, if only for a moment. And that's when he begins to question his friend. How can someone like that see him? And I think that's when he starts to get infatuated, because no one's ever seen him before. And so he starts hanging around her more. And
right, because he's always under the understanding that the only time they get seen is when somebody is at the moment of dying or dies. That's the only time they get seen. And then and I think the angel that keeps hanging around with him says something about that a blind person knew he was there, but Seth said, but the person was blind, so they didn't actually see you. And he's like, they will, in a way, in their way, they did, because they were blind,
Yeah,
So
like they could sense his presence or something like that.
right, because blind people, their other senses
kick in.
are heightened because they don't have the sense of sight.
Well, when you go blind, you have to start to use your other senses because even your awareness, how your body. Because I swear, um, you put your hand up when you think there's going to be a wall or something like that. But if you did it blindly, it would be a little bit different because then you would possibly hear the presence of the wall come up or something like that. I mean, it's really weird how our senses work.
Like when we walk around the apartment in the dark. Oh, yep, there's a wall there.
God damn it, there was a table there because I stubbed my knee on it,
Oh, just got run
Damn.
over by the cat. Should have felt that one coming. But yeah, so he starts, yes, following her around and observing and then, like I said, that's when he starts having all these 20 million questions about things, and then she gets the patient of Dennis Franz, and in some ways he is still in character from the NYPD Blue because he is he's not as rude and crude as he is in there, but he still is somewhat rude.
Oh, Dave, I'm sorry.
I
What did you say?
I believe he was hiding some ice cream when we first meet him.
Yes, because she was telling him, well, you can't eat this, you can't do this, you can't do this anymore. And he's like, and he's like, it's not my time. And he's trying to tell her, everything will be fine. You just do your part. I'll sit here and do my, but it isn't my time yet. I know it's not, and he's trying to tell her that. And she's trying to tell him, well, you're not following anything you're supposed to be doing. Don't you understand? This is very serious. This is your heart, And he's not taking it seriously at all. But he's not taking it seriously at all because we will find out that he used to be an angel. And he fell, which we'll find out what that means in a moment. But he fell to become a human. So that's why he is not taking everything that she says seriously, because he feels that since he used to be an angel, he knows when it's going to be his time, and it's not his time,
Will make sense.
To a certain degree, but I also somewhat feel like your time is never really known. You could die today, or you could die tomorrow, and you could never know. And there are times when people die, and there's no reason why.
And there are times when people say, "Take me or fix me," and you get somewhat fixed and you stay.
But
that's what happened with me. I was at the hospital, and
this was before I met her.
Before my friends took me to the hospital.
But that's another story.
Well, before my friends took me to the hospital, I prayed to God and I said, either take me or fix me. I don't want to do this anymore. And, well, I'm still here. So he somewhat fixed me. He fixed the part that was creating the problem, I guess, at the time, the heart. But now there's other problems. But that's besides the point. He evidently didn't want me at that moment, so I am still here.
Oh.
That was his answer, evidently.
Mhm.
So,
He wasn't ready for you.
evidently,
There's too many crap people up in heaven anyway.
that was 18 years ago when that happened.
18.
Yeah, because it was the year before I met you.
My mom seems to think that he kept her around to meet me.
Yes. Gee, aren't I lucky?
I was about to say maybe God wanted you to annoy Dave some more. But I'm
No.
just
He
kidding.
wanted him to annoy me.
I'm sorry, of course, that was a joke.
Yeah.
In that aspect, yes, I am glad he kept me around to meet Dave and his wonderful family. But in other aspects, there's other aspects of life that I wish he would have not kept me around. But whatever, I am
Ah,
still here.
I can
But
imagine.
like David said, you never know actually when it is your time, and you know that's not our decision to make. But Maggie thinks it is her decision to make, basically. And so when things don't go her way, uh, she takes it very much to heart because she feels like that
She did something wrong.
right, or she failed,
That she missed something along the way.
Yeah, it's in a way it's almost like she has a small god complex because she's, you know, she feels that she knows what she's doing so well, and as long as she does everything that she's supposed to do, she's supposed to be able to fix somebody.
Everybody. Which you can't fix everything. It's just not possible, unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
There's always going to be something. Oh.
We lost him.
Oh, shit. Which means I got to get back to the room and re-add it. There's blank air. Start talking.
So, yes, as this continues, Seth is totally observing her, and um he finally I believe he finally does let her see him.
Yes.
So, and that's kind of that's after he's talked to the Dennis Franz character, you know, and he's asking him all kinds of questions about, you know, how do you do this, how do you do that, or how can they see us, how can, and
They're sitting on top of a construction site because evidently Messenger can still still not be afraid of heights. And he basically tells him that the thing that they don't tell you is that he gave free will to you too, and you've got to be willing and be able to take the leap, and fall yourself. They call them fallen angels for a reason. Um, so, um, and it basically will you know make you human. You want to be able to touch, taste, feel all these things. Well, you've got to have put it in your mind that you're going to do it and do it.
Well, Dennis Franz's character and him actually become like really good friends, and because it, he helps him through this is he's kind of his backup, as the when he actually is seen by Maggie, he backs him up. This is my friend. This is the da da da. He's kind of helps out with making him seem like a normal person. To her.
Yep. And Maggie cannot be seen to be in a relationship with him since he can't feel anything. You know.
Well, she starts to suspect things, like he's cutting some lettuce or whatever in front of her, and cuts right through his finger, and she sees it, and nothing happens. It doesn't bleed. It doesn't cut. It doesn't. It should have been. He should have cut his finger right off.
Well, yeah, and she purposely cuts his fingers, so it's like
After she sees that happen, yes, and that's
and
when things. That's
that
when things
freaks her
start
out.
coming to light for her, because she she keeps questioning things about him, and he's trying to come up with the answers, and the his friend, you know,
She also seems to go to Messenger and ask him questions too, and he doesn't want to tell her everything because he thinks it's Seth's place to say it. You know,
right,
but he basically tells her and is very cryptic about it because she doesn't entirely understand everything yet either. But he's basically tells her he's got to be willing to give up eternity to be with you. Basically, right?
right,
So, um, she is proposed to by her somewhat sometime boyfriend, I guess you could call him that, because he seems to be like a take charge kind of person, you know, which is why when she came home, her bags were packed and her sleeping bag was ready, and he was like, "We're going camping," and she's like, "What? Can't we just be for a moment?" Uh, in fact, why don't you just try staring at me and being here with me at me for a moment?
Yeah, that's actually one subplot of this movie that bothers me. Like, at the time when Maggie met Seth, she already had a boyfriend, so how come she started to fantasize about meeting Seth again if she
Because she
already had
wasn't
someone in her life?
because she
I
wasn't in
don't
love
think
with
she
the
was
boyfriend.
totally. I don't think she was totally happy. I think she enjoyed his company to a point,
And
and
the
I think,
sex was probably good, but
and I, and I think that she was thinking it was the two of them was the right thing, because they understood each other. They understood each other's careers. They understood how demanding their careers were. That this was how things were supposed to go. You know, is what I think is basically what she was thinking and feeling with him. But then when she met Seth, all her um all her questions about her boyfriend, if they were right together or whatever, came more to light because she started to realize that there were things that were missing, and
Like actually feeling and enjoying taste and enjoying life. Like there was Seth was asking her what the taste of a pear tastes like to her, because he'd never tasted anything before. So he was trying to understand what some of the things that she was eating or whatnot tasted like. And I think in his presence, she started to feel a hell of a lot more towards Seth than she ever had felt for that boyfriend, you know? And
right, because
nothing was set in stone with the boyfriend.
I think Seth made her um made her because he questioned things and questions. What does this feel like? What's this like? What's that like? And I think it made her come to the realization that I never thought about how this feels. I never thought about how that feels, and started realizing, I mean, when the boyfriend proposed to her, he admitted that he wasn't a good one with expressing his feelings and everything. That he was more of a doer than a thinker than a feeler, and you could see when he proposed to her, he was trying to show his emotions because you saw that he got kind of teary eyed, but his um his personality, he just
He was more
wasn't one.
methodical about it than emotionally attached.
But that doesn't mean that he didn't actually have the feelings. He just didn't really know how to show them. Is what the she wanted, and she started feeling that she wanted somebody that could actually show the feelings,
Yeah,
So
but I mean the whole thing about her developing feelings for Seth while having someone else, it kind of felt like she was cheating on Jordan, and like that wasn't even properly addressed in the story.
yeah, I guess, but you know, she, I think she was, I think all of her feelings and emotions got confused, and she didn't know which way to go. And
Oh
that's how she
yeah,
that's how she ends up at the cabin anyways, because she's trying to take a break from both of them, you know?
Yep.
Because she even tells Seth, I don't want to see you no more. I don't want nothing to do with you no more. That's it. You know, I'm done. And she says this unknowingly in front of all the angels, you know?
yes.
And
I kind of feel like all the angels are like one collective, like on the same air length as one another. So when one starts thinking one way, they all start paying attention to that because they realize that one of their own is coming away from the fold, and you know, okay, this is interesting. Let's look. Let's stare.
but it seems like his friend that always is with him um is rooting for him. That angel that's always with him.
Cassiel.
Yeah, it seems like in a way he is rooting for him. It's like I think he understands. You know,
Yes.
And of course, we know what eventually happens. He does take the fall. And when he falls, he is so happy to feel and whatnot. And then, of course, some gang members come and take a shit. So now he's barefoot. And his one thought in mind is to try to get to Maggie. And when he shows up at the hospital, and they're all like, "Well, who the fuck are you?"
Oh yeah, like no one actually saw him before that.
And when he said the one nurse's name, the one that took care of babies, and she took care of his wounds. She told
Annie.
huh?
I think her name was Anne. Anne
Yeah.
or Annie.
Yeah, Annie. I think she was a little startled that he knew her name.
Oh yeah.
Kind of brings the song "Every Breath You Take" to mind.
But she eventually trusts him enough to tell him where she is. She's at the cabin in Lake Tahoe. So he immediately leaves, and he eventually gets there. Gets there and shows up on her door, and she sees him in this disheveled. And basically tells him, I couldn't say yes to what's his name? I think his name was Tom.
Jordan.
Or it was Jordan. Okay. She couldn't say yes to him because she was in love with Seth, and that's what she told him. So, I believe it's around this time that we actually hear the song Iris play. And I give up forever to touch you, just to know that you hear me somehow. You know, that song. That was the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh yeah, actually, I kind of liked that song, Old Black Magic, called Love, if that's what it's titled.
But
I like Uninvited.
I like Uninvited too. That one's pretty good.
That's the one that they play at the end. In the end credits, they're playing that one.
They also play it somewhere in the beginning of the movie too. But yeah. Then of course they have a love scene, and then she is preparing. While he's taking a shower, she is preparing what she thinks is to be like the perfect breakfast, and she goes out and she goes and gets some other ingredients, and on her way back, she is riding a bicycle, and you see Seth actually putting his arms up like he knows exactly what's happening to her when it's happening, and as she is feeling like she is free and happy and whatnot, she goes no hands barred on that bicycle down a hill, and in slow motion you see a logger with a truck pull out.
Well, yeah, just as she puts her hands back on the handlebars and looks in front of her, yeah, she can't stop the bicycle in time.
Of course, they pussy out in showing you the crash, but you know what's happened, and Seth realizes something has happened, so he runs outside the house down the road and finds her body, and he at first wants to go and call someone, but she says, stay with me. because the trucker had actually already called. But I guess ultimately she does die, and Seth is there for the funeral, and he doesn't know exactly what to do with himself, but I know he's sitting back in a chair, and his friend, his angel friend, is there, and he's like, I can't see you, but I know you're there. And he basically comes forward and shows himself, and he's like, would you well, here's a question. Would you rather not have jumped and met Maggie and done any of this, or are you happy to have had the moments that you've had? And he looks back at him and he's like, well, I know this. I know I would not take back one moment, 1 second that I had touching her and feeling with her and being with her as long as I have. And I wouldn't give it up for the world. I can't hear you, Tammy.
You know, he still doesn't understand after everything. You know, why did he why did she have to be taken from him after everything, you know?
Uh,
He is upset about that, why, you know?
we don't understand it either.
Well, I wish he would have had a lot of years with her too, but that's not how the movie went. And I think the director wanted to make a statement that you don't always have forever with the ones you love.
Huh.
What do you think, Tammy? Do you think the same?
Yeah, you know, kind of like make the best of what you have when you have it, because you never know how long you will, you know?
I get the message at the end of the day, but I kind of almost wish that we would have seen what would have happened if you know
Yeah,
if
or
things
if
had
at least,
gone the way that it did.
they can show us some eventual reunion of them in the afterlife or something like that.
Or uh, maybe if he had actually met someone else towards the end of the movie and tie it off in a little bow like that, but we don't get that. We get him going into that wave and enjoying the wave.
Yeah.
Right. I would like to have seen him at least, seen them at least show how he adapted to life, you know? Because
Well, yeah.
there were so many things that he needed to learn, and so many things he needed to do to actually be human and adapt to a human life, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he goes through that market, that supermarket market or the food market, and just keeps grabbing those pears, that's a sad moment. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, there are so many better fruits that are out there to me. I anytime I've ever picked up a pear, when it's just a straight pear, it has not been. Uh, it's always been a hard fruit for me to bite into. To me, when he sinks his teeth into these pears and they look like they're soft, I'm like, I've never experienced that. Uh, I've only experienced that when they're actually already cut up and in cans. And even so, sometimes they're really fucking hard in the cans. So when you're biting into them, they're like rocks. So to me, a pear isn't a good example of a grapefruit.
Huh.
Well, you don't like the type of pear that she liked. They're called Bosc pears, the brown ones, and I actually like Bosc pears.
Well, actually, yeah, not all pears are the same.
No, I think David's more or less, if he ever had a pear outside of a can, is used to the green ones, not the brown ones.
I'd rather like a pear that I'd be able to sink my teeth in, and the juices would be flowing down, and I could eat the thing to the core without having to chew it like a cookie. Because it should.
I do remember when I was little that I think when my mom first brought those pears around, I thought something was wrong with them because they were brown.
That's funny.
And she's like, "No, it's just a different type of pear," because I was used to pears being green.
Hey, bear! Oh, God. Uh, Sorry, I was impersonating the annoying orange.
That's okay. So I think we are at the end of the film now, right?
Oh,
Basically.
yeah.
So what? How about this? Let's talk about production. What did you think about production overall, Boris?
Oh, for the most part, I thought the production was decent, except for the detail that you already mentioned, how they pussied out from showing the accident. Like, come on, at the beginning they were showing us human insights during that surgery, and then they couldn't show a traffic accident. Like, what the fuck? Uh, so that would be maybe my only complaint about the production. Aside from that, well, maybe I would have liked to see some more angelic imagery, maybe some more insight into what heaven looks like in this story and stuff like that. That kind of felt missing, not gonna lie. But other than that, I guess everything was okay with the production.
Okay. What
Okay,
about
what?
you, Tammy?
I have to kind of agree with Boris on there that yeah, if you're going to show this, why didn't you show that? I do not that you how do you put it? How do you, not that I totally completely wanted to see blood and gut whatever accident or whatever, but I guess I would like to have actually seen what happened in the accident. Okay.
Uh,
It
yes,
it didn't have to be
exactly.
it didn't have to be bloody and gory or anything like that, but just to see what actually happened in the accident.
Yeah, and apparently they didn't mind showing the blood and gore during the surgery.
Right. Other than that, I did like the concept, like David said at the very beginning of how, in the at the sunrise, how all the angels meet there on that beach. That's really kind of cool. And how they kind of like all congregate at that very huge and elaborate library. Um,
Well, yeah, because
Cool, yes.
uh, that would that would make you think that they are trying to gain all kinds of knowledge.
I did. There was a lot of neat things with the production. I think I think I think they did a good job of picking um Nicolas Cage and Dennis Franz for the roles that they had, because I think they did pull them off very good. So I think that was definitely good, because those two actors in a film like this is kind of out of their it seems like this kind of normally would be they're out of their element, if you might say. And so for them to pick those two for this, I think they actually did do a good job of picking them, and I think they did a pretty good job of pulling it off, you know.
Oh,
um
actually, yeah, I have to agree.
yeah, and I think Meg Ryan was very good too. And is it the other Castell is the other angel?
Cassiel.
Cassiel, yeah. And not that they didn't do good in their roles either, but it's just knowing the roles that um Dennis Franz and Nicolas Cage usually are in.
Yeah.
I think they actually did do a good job. And um I liked the the sets and stuff were pretty good, I think. um they were pretty believable and everything. um his I thought that one of the best things in the production was his actual fall. you know um when he
Well,
did
good
the when he
point,
when
actually.
when he did the actual fall. It
Yes.
was that was actually really something else, I thought. And it was portrayed very well.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah.
So, did any have anything else on production?
Who? Well, you pointed out the fall at the moment of all the angels in the library, which slipped my mind. But yeah, those definitely are good moments. Aside from that, though, nothing more comes to my mind either.
Did you have anything else on production, David?
Well, I thought production was pretty good. You got an interesting sense of what the Angels did before, you know, uh, like I said, they were more like reapers than anything else, and you didn't see you didn't see like God behind them or anything else. You just assumed that they were, you know, what they were, you know.
Uh,
So
well, truth be told, we didn't see them only as reapers. There was also that moment of them being there during the robbery at some store or something, and they saved that cashier from getting killed.
well, yeah. They tried to show Seth and Castiel out amongst like some of the people um, doing what they were doing to. Um, it seemed like they were there to help people calm down too, because they would touch them when they were feeling anxious or something like that.
The other thing that's kind of interesting is how they're physically portrayed. You normally they're all dressed in black, and
So they're a little bit Matrix.
yeah, and
Good
normally
comparison.
angels are you should normally see them in white, or they have wings, or they have just to be all dressed in black. It was is different.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I I didn't even think that much about their clothes, but I did kind of wonder why we didn't see their wigs or anything like that.
Well, I suppose you could always call them agents in the Matrix, but anyways, um, no offense, but it, the Matrix came out around that time too, so to me, it's almost like it was a little bit different. So, and so they were dressed up a little bit like funeral directors or what you would call pallbearers, a little bit in a sense. But yeah, I thought the production overall was serviceable for what it needed. Did we need all this spiritual crap behind it to show that these dudes were angels, or that there was more to God than what they were showing? I don't think we necessarily needed that. But
No, I think we got the idea without a whole bunch of crap.
instead of religiousizing it,
Well,
So,
since they didn't show much of a visual aspect of angels, like we said, they looked very
when
much like.
Seth got a picture taken of him, there was a white light.
Oh yeah. Okay, that was an interesting detail too.
So
well, I don't do like David does as far as the music goes. We've kind of touched on it that the soundtrack was a really good soundtrack. There was a lot of very popular bands that were on the soundtrack of very popular songs.
yeah, and I think Peter Gabriel might have been on the soundtrack along with maybe BB King. There was some blues, but other than that, I think it was a decent soundtrack. It's definitely one that I've remembered,
Me too, especially since I own it.
which is saying a lot because I don't really try to accentuate what kind of music was played or who played it or whatnot. For the most part,
Well, usually you get into big time about the music and everything, but this one, the music basically did have to do more with the songs from the soundtrack. When we're on Mondays with the other group, they totally really get into the music and everything, and a lot of them have a lot of the soundtracks for the movies. Where
and pay attention to who does the scores.
the scores and all that. Where me, I only have a few soundtracks, and they're basically because of like this, where the songs definitely I think fit for the movie.
Well, like I'll put an example out there that Tammy would probably think of. Supernatural, you think of Kansas. Whenever you think about Supernatural, carry on my wayward son.
Ah, good one.
They played a lot of good songs in that series actually, but that one was one of the main ones. Yes. But a few other movies that have really good soundtracks was Across the Universe.
Yeah.
Um,
Star Wars has a great soundtrack with the dun 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 dun.
That one is obvious.
Guardians of the Galaxy has very good soundtracks.
Hooked on a feeling, it's so hard believing.
So I think this one is right up there with those. It's got definitely very good music behind it. So I guess we're gonna go into our favorite characters and favorite scenes. So,
I guess I'll start. Um, I like Seth as a character. I think he's very questionable, questioning his existence and things that he's never experienced before. When someone a pretty human decides to look his way, he starts getting more infatuated and wants to experience life. And I guess my favorite scene is I think my favorite scene is when he actually is dancing in the middle of the road, and he's jumping and singing off key. For some reason, he shows that he's so excited to be alive. You know.
okay. What about yours?
Oh, my favorite character is also Seth. I pretty much have to agree with Dave's reasons. And my favorite scene would probably be the time when he was actually happy with Maggie there where she went for vacation or whatever uh, before the accident.
Oh, so when she got naked and he got naked and they were.
Well, that's a part of it.
But they don't really show much.
No, they don't. They were keeping it PG-13. You didn't see any nipples.
But like I told David during that scene, I said, "So how does an angel who's never been human know how to make love?"
I told her it's just like getting back on a horse. It's something you just know.
Ha.
Well, besides reading about it and watching porn.
And I said he probably didn't do that, so how does he know?
Well, actually, I wasn't even thinking specifically about the Unity scene, if we can call it that. I just meant generally the moment of them actually being happy together.
Right. So, um, I'm gonna go a little bit out of the box here. My favorite character actually is Messenger.
Okay.
Well,
Probably because I am so used to seeing that actor, like I said, in NYPD Blue, and just to see him do something a lot, a lot totally, almost totally, completely different than the character he was on there, but he still had that little bit of an edge, like he had in NYPD Blue. But yeah, I don't know. I just think he did the part so very well, and so I really enjoyed him in this. And I always thought when I would watch NYPD Blue that he was nothing but an asshole, but but that I think in I think his character in NYPD Blue was part of what brought people into that show and kept people hooked on it was his actual character in there. You know, he was like he's a staple for that show.
I can imagine.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to check out the TV show, it is, yeah, it's pretty intense. And there's a lot of controversy for its time. That show brought a lot of things, you know, to the table that a lot of shows would never have even thought of doing, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, my favorite scene I think my favorite scene is when Seth actually falls.
I like that scene too, and I I guess I also like the moment when him and Maggie are actually happy as well too. It's just
That one, and I like at the end when he goes swimming.
yeah.
You know, but yep. So at this point, did anybody else have anything else to say or add to it, or?
Not that I know of.
Uh, Not much, I guess. Like I said, the thing that was kind of bothering me throughout the movie was the whole boyfriend subplot, which I think kind of wasn't written very well. Like, if her relationship with him was so meaningless that she could so easily start fantasizing about someone else, then why was she with him to begin with? So that was kind of bothering me, but
Because
that's
it was the kind of relationship that she it was kind of more see a lot of relationships are just that, surface relationships, especially when you're not married. If you're not married per se, then technically I kind of feel like if you're not married, then you don't own the other person.
You don't own them anyways, even if you are married.
Even if you are you don't own them. But you got to remember, you do not have any control over what the other person does. That doesn't
well,
mean that you can't like trust people. I'm just saying,
technically
if there are
you
no
are.
ties that bind you to that person, they tend to think that there are a lot more freedoms.
I guess,
Uh,
but like, look how long we've been together. We're we don't have that piece of paper saying that we're married, and that's thanks to our lovely government. But for all intents and purposes, we are married.
Yep.
We just don't have that piece of paper.
Nope.
You know?
yeah, I was about to say, technically, Dave, you are not married to Tammy, yet you
Yeah, but
wouldn't
I've
be
never looked
happy if
at
she
another.
did that to you.
I've never looked at another woman a different way. Let's put it that way. Never had to. I think that we've always had a very physically, sexually active, loving relationship, and I have no problem saying that.
And I
Fair
haven't looked
enough.
at I haven't looked at another guy another way except for Alex.
Or Zorbo.
Oh.
The Alex is Alex O'Loughlin, the actor.
Ah.
Allowed to have crushes on actors.
My way of thinking is you can look all you want at whoever you want as long as you don't act on it.
Cool. Fair enough.
So if we went to go see a local band or whatever, and I thought one of the guys in the band was really cute and everything, and was kind of like oogling him, as long as I didn't do anything, I can oogle him all I want.
I'll still probably look at him and be like, he looks scuzzy as shit.
But that's just my way of thinking. Is you can look all you want as long as you don't act on it. So because it's human nature, you know.
Good, true.
But on that note, what are we doing next week?
Oh, that would be on me, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Well, since you took it to the Angels, I'll take it to Oh God.
I don't have that one, do you?
I do. But I gotta find where I stuck it. It's a movie called Oh God.
Oh God, the title.
Yep. Oh God.
What year is it from?
1970s.
The 70s.
It's got John Denver in it.
Let's see.
If ever there was a movie that would make you think about whether there is a God or not, that's a movie that.
Oh, 1977, directed by Carl Reiner, written by Larry Gelbart, Avery Corman, stars
Correct.
John Denver. That's the one.
Yep. I believe George Burns is in there, and it's
yes.
part of a trilogy.
You know which movies they do like well, you were saying if you were questioning about God, the Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty. I do like those. Part of the reason I like those two movies so much is that
because of Morgan
Morgan Freeman is portrayed as God.
Ah.
So, and Morgan Freeman is one of my favorite actors.
Well, definitely.
Well, this is the first one that I always think about when it comes to. Well, she took it to the angels. I'm taking it to God Himself.
Fair enough.
All right. So I guess on that note,
we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
I'll be
See you.
with the ending.
Oh, yep, he's gonna come and do his ending. So, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Inside movies galore, just makes you just want more. We've had all in the world of media to explore. Horror, anime, or Curious George. Our love of new things was our reward. It is the best night of our week.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.